Introducing the all-new Italiano range of pizza. Pizza Ultimo. Pizza Hut.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Primetime News on MTV Sports live from the News First studios in Colombo. I'm Nadim Majid.
And I'm Krishna Panditaratna. We start off the news with a look at the headlines.
Making headlines this evening, the PUC decides not to increase electricity tariffs for consumers using up to 60 units of electricity. Former CEO of Dayata Kirula remanded on charges of fraud. Also in local news, representatives of the Human Rights Commission visit Azad Sali at the National Hospital. Now, the revision in electricity tariffs was a hotly debated topic over the past few weeks. A revision in electricity tariffs was announced on the 17th of April, which brought on a 60% increase in the electricity tariffs of household consumers.
The effects of the tariff revision were mostly felt by consumers using less than 125 units of electricity. However, that tariff system was discarded and a new system was announced just today.
Well, yes, Krishna, I have more details of the latest electricity tariff revisions. Now, we explained how the proposed April 17 tariff revision would have affected your lives. Let's see how this new tariff system that was announced today would affect the consumers. Now, you might be able to get a better understanding of how this tariff system works if you pay close attention. Now, as proposed by President Mahinda Rajapaksa on May Day, the electricity tariffs for household consumers were using between 30 to 60 units of electricity remains unchanged. However, we should make a clarification. Now, the tariff proposal submitted by the CEB immediately after the President's statement included a 35% increase in prices for electricity consumers using between 31 to 60 units. Now, this was based on the decision taken by the Ceylon Electricity Board to change how the electricity bill was calculated. However, according to the tariff structure which was announced today, the manner in which the electricity bill would be calculated remains unchanged. There will be no change in electricity tariffs for consumers using up to 60 units of electricity. But if you exceed this, then this is how the prices will change. Now, if you between 0 to 60 units, there will be no change. 61 to 90 units, your unit price will be 12. Fixed charge of 90, fuel adjustment charge 10%. 91 to 120 units, I beg your pardon, your fuel adjustment charge increases by 40%, unit price 26.50, fixed charge 315 rupees, and so on and so forth. Over 180 units, you're looking at a unit price of 42 rupees per unit, fixed charge of 420, and a fuel adjustment charge of 40%. Now, if your monthly electricity consumption is 61 units, then this is how the bill would be formulated. Now, I must point out that this is only for domestic electricity consumers. This does not apply for the other sectors, industrial, hospitality and tourism, so on and so forth. Domestic electricity bill for 61 units, so let's say unit price is 10, 60 into 10, that's 600, 1 into 12, 12, plus the fixed charge of 90, and your fuel adjustment charge 612 into 10 over 100, because your fuel adjustment charge would be 10% of your bill, comes to a total of 763 rupees and 20 cents for a domestic electricity bill for 61 units. Now, what happens if the consumption exceeds this as well? Now, here is a breakdown of these electricity prices. The domestic electricity bill for 91 units, your unit price for the first 60 units into 10, for the next 30 units into 12, plus for that one additional unit, you'll be paying another 26 rupees and 50 cents. So your unit price, for the number of units you consume, you'll be paying a total of 986 rupees and 50 cents. Your fixed charge will be 315 rupees, and your fuel adjustment charge is now 40%, 394 rupees and 60 cents. Your total bill comes up to 1,696 rupees and 10 cents. Now, these are how the proposed domestic electricity tariffs have changed. For up to 61 units, you'll be looking at 423 rupees 90 cents. Your new charges are 763 rupees and 20 cents. That's a change of 339 rupees and 30 cents, an increase of 80%. For 90 units, an increase of 57%. For 91 units, an increase of 73%. For 100 units, an increase of 63%. and for 120 units, an increase of 51%. Now, meanwhile, while this debate keeps coming up, a media briefing was held today as well to create awareness on the strike action to be carried out on the 21st of this month in protest against the increase in electricity tariffs.
එදා දවසේ වැඩ කරන ජනතාව රැකියාවට එන්නේ නැහැ. එතකොට පාරිභෝගිකයන්ට කඩවලට යන්න එපා කියමු.
We call on workers not to report to work on that day. We call on consumers not to go into shops. Let us engage in a democratic and peaceful protest. We have decided to name the 21st the National Black Day. We need the support of everyone.
නම් කිරීම සඳහා අපි තීරණයක් තියෙනවා. ඒ නිසා සහෝදර සහෝදරියෝ හැමෝගෙම එකගතාවය ඒ සඳහා අවශ්‍යයි.
Now, staying on the topic of the revised electricity tariffs, the national organizer of the All Island Agrarian Services Federation also spoke on this topic.
තෙල්වල පොහොරවල ඉඳන් මේ හැම එකකම මිල වැඩිවීමට මේක බලපානවා. බීජවල මිල වැඩිවීමටත් බලපානවා. සමස්ත මිල වැඩිවීම.
This will cause a rise in prices of fertilizer and seeds. It will affect the overall price. The farmers cannot do anything when the production cost increases. The farmer cannot decide on the production cost. Everyone else can decide on the price. Therefore, with the increase in electricity tariffs, there is no system for the farmer to recover the cost from the fruits, vegetables and grain he produces.
තමුන් නිෂ්පාදනය කරන එළවලු වලින් ධාන්‍ය වලින් පළතුරු වලින් ඒක අය කරගන්න ගොවියට ක්‍රමවේදයක් නැහැ.
Now, a special event was held opposite the Fort Railway Station today to create public awareness on the rise in electricity tariffs.
The event was organized by the People's Movement against the rise in electricity tariffs. Through this protest, we are asking the government to completely abolish the proposal to increase electricity tariffs that has rendered the public helpless. We do not need relief because the relief granted cannot be accepted.
News means freedom.
Well, as journalists, it is our duty to report the truth to the public. It is a sacred duty, and with that we wrap up this segment on the revised electricity tariffs. Krishni, back over to you at the main desk.
Thank you, Nadim, for the comprehensive report. In other stories, a tense situation rose following a motor accident which occurred yesterday in the Gurudeniya area in Kandy. News First U reporter Andra Ananda Vijay Singh in Kandy filed this report on the incident.
A cab met with an accident in the Pichamalwata junction in Gurudeniya at around 9:30 last night. This cab belongs to the Valapani Divisional Secretary. The cab, which was travelling at high speed, collided with a jeep parked nearby and had toppled. A tense situation arose between the area residents and the driver. However, the police intervened to bring the situation under control.
පියදුරු අතර දැඩි උණුසුම් කතාබහක් වී ඇති අතර පොලිසිය මැදිහත් වී සමතයකට පත් කර ඇත.
පොලිසිය වාහනවල දාගත්තා. බේබදුව ආරක්ෂා කරනවා.
මම සිරසෝ පොඩි උඩ කලබල ගන්න.
News Press U report වෙනුවෙන් මම අනුරානන්ද විජේසිංහ මානුවර සිට.
The police said that the divisional secretary was released after the owners of the two vehicles that were involved in the accident reached a settlement. In more stories, a discussion was held at Temple Trees yesterday on the issues that have cropped up and the inconveniences faced by traders when urban development projects are initiated in Nugegoda. President Mahinda Rajapaksa presided at the discussion.
At the discussion, the President instructed authorities not to immediately demolish the supermarket complex in Nugegoda. President Mahinda Rajapaksa had also instructed authorities to obtain views and suggestions from traders and formulate a proper mechanism to implement urban development activities. The head of state said that problems can be minimized through futuristic constructions that are suitable for the city and which attract the public. Meanwhile, President Mahinda Rajapaksa was presented with the first copy of a book recounting the 30-year-long political career of Minister of Irrigation and Water Resources Management, Nimal Siripala de Silva. The book was authored by journalist Upul Jayasinghe. 189 speeches delivered in Parliament by Nimal Siripala de Silva during his tenure as an opposition parliamentarian from 1989 to 1994 are included in the book.
Now moving on to more local news, the hearing of the fundamental rights petition filed against the arrest of former Deputy Mayor of Colombo, Azad Sali, will be taken up in the Supreme Court tomorrow. The hearing was postponed following a request made by State Counsel Senaka Vijay Singha.
The State Council informed court that since there was a delay in the Attorney General's department receiving the petition and documents, time was needed to analyze the case. The case will be taken up tomorrow after request made by the State Council. He has been arrested under the Prevention of Terrorism Act and detention orders have been issued. This petition challenges that decision. Another petition had been filed before his arrest and it is scheduled to be heard tomorrow. The Attorney General requested that both petitions be taken up for consideration together.
Only my mother and I have been given permission to see him during visiting hours. The doctor said that he might go into a diabetic coma. We were asked to force him to drink, but he still does not consume anything.
Meanwhile, representatives from the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission visited the National Hospital today to inquire into the well-being of Azad Sali. Human Rights Commissioner Dr. Pratibha Mahanamahewa said that this visit was undertaken following a complaint lodged by the daughter of Azad Sali with the Commission yesterday.
A commissioner, 2 directors and 2 investigation officers from the Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission visited Azad Sali, who is receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital.
He is unaware for what reason he has been arrested, and basically we had a discussion with him about 10 to 15 minutes. We were really looking his protection of fundamental rights and the due procedure. So actually he has filed a fundamental right case in Supreme Court, therefore we have to lay down our case. But anyway, we took all these notes, and once we go back to Sri Lanka Human Rights Commission, and we'll have another discussion and see the future action.
Meanwhile, a hartal was staged in several areas of the Ampara district today. This was in protest against the detention of former Deputy Mayor of the Colombo Municipal Council, Azad Sali, and calling for his immediate release. The hartal was organized by the All Ceylon Muslim Youth Organization.
A correspondent said that private bus services in the Akarapattu, Adalachena, Palamune and Oluvil areas were disrupted as a result of the hartal. The hartal campaigns were also organized in Mardumane, Halmune, Kudi, Saindamardu and Samanturi areas.